time above, the time before, there were perfect things, diamond absolutes. Things fall, things on earth, and what falls is fallen.
Release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. Release the Snyder Cut.
Welcome to Quick Dip, my culture comrades, or Justice culture comrades. I think he likes to say that more than I do. Today, welcome to Quick Dip, my culture comrades, or Justice culture comrades. I think he likes to say that more than I do. Today, we'll be talking Restore the SnyderVerse. When will we get the Snyder Cut? Is it that Kong vs. Godzilla is being pushed so that we can accommodate Zack Snyder's Justice League? We shall find out. Or will we as fans look like sad Bernie during the Biden inauguration when it doesn't come out in March?
Join us as we take a quick dip around the industry with special guest Scott McClellan from Squadcast Media. You're not going to want to miss this one because we do it for you. We do it for the culture. Holla at us. What it do, people? Welcome to Quick Dip, another edition. You know how we do around here every Wednesday night. We like to we take a deep dive into whatever the topic may be. This week around, we're gonna get into the SnyderVerse and Snyder Cut and when it will release, and will Kong vs. Godzilla get pushed and yada yada, etc. so forth. You got myself. I go by Big Drip. To my left, what happened? You knew what?
I knew I was gonna fuck it up. And I did.
That's all right.
Twice.
That's all right. I'll get on.
Yeah.
I'll get you later for that one. since you
Listen,
so
it's hard when you
interrupted me.
Yeah. But so how's everyone doing? Scott, thank you so much for joining us. I know I just interrupted him. Sorry about that.
Yeah,
I just felt so
that you should.
I was embarrassed a little bit that I messed it up. I knew I jinxed myself. But there's been so much talk about, and I said it the other day, there's been so many people out there that they know exactly when the Snyder Cut's coming out, but then this guy knows exactly when it's coming out, and then there's this guy who knows exactly when it's coming out. Scott, when do you think it's coming out?
Okay, I wanted to preface this by saying I know nothing. I suspect things. People tell me things. I am not here to pronounce myself like I am spreading the gospel here, but I really do think we're looking at that March 25th date. I mean, 5th anniversary of BVS really seems like it would be a good date. Plus the fact that you announced Godzilla versus Kong with a really cool trailer, and then 3 days later you push it to the next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what threw me off. And I didn't know whether to look at that was so when the news came out that it got pushed to the 31st, I didn't know if that looks really terrible, or were they gearing us up for something else that once that's announced, we'll forget all about Kong and being pushed back 5 days.
Yeah. And I think that's fair to assume.
Yeah, but then there's another James Wan movie that's also coming out, and I forget what it's called, but there's a James Malignant. That's what it was. So I'm just confused. I think people are not jumping to conclusions. I don't want to say that. The timing would be perfect, but I think from a business perspective, I don't see them releasing it in March anymore. That's just me personally. I think a subscription-based service, what they're going to want to do is they're going to want to get you for as many months as they can, right? They hit you right at the end of the month with Kong, and then, they'll keep you for March. And then I think the Snyder Cut will now come out in April and keep you for April. However, that's just my opinion.
Okay.
I could be dead wrong too.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. But I want to go ahead and agree with Scott. I'm going to go ahead and say that they gave Zack was really pushing for the 25th so he could get that BBS anniversary. Warner Brothers said, okay, we're going to give you that. We'll push Godzilla vs. Kong a week forward, so that way you can have that date and there's still some time in between the two. Okay.
Do you think that's too much in a little bit of okay? So the question, I guess, would be, do you think that they're trying to cloud the numbers then? If you don't think if you don't think it's too much, do you guys think they're trying to maybe fudge the numbers a little bit or inflate them, I guess, if you will?
And that has crossed my mind because in the last few days or so, we've seen a hashtag saying, we're just going to get I don't know what the exact hashtag is, but just do this, watch the Snyder Cut and then cancel. And you were talking about this last night on your show last night, that please don't do that. If you want the SnyderVerse to come back, we have to show a little bit of solidarity with HBO Max to show that the fans are sticking with it. So maybe, you're right. They're saying, okay, we can say that our month of March is even better, and we got even more subscribers between the Snyder Cut and Godzilla vs. Kong, but there might be an inclination to give all that credit to Godzilla vs. Kong instead of just the Snyder Cut.
Scott, I saw you waving your arms like a
No, that would be because my children, who are supposed to be in bed, are staring at me right now.
I thought you were like, don't cancel HBO Max.
No, I was saying that too. It was don't cancel HBO Max, and then there was the why are you not in bed?
But I was saying this last night. You would be going against everything that we've set out to do by watching this film once and then canceling your subscription to HBO Max. It'd be counterproductive in every sense of the word, right? If you want, unless you're satisfied with just this project, right? And that's it. I would be satisfied with just Zack Snyder's Justice League. However, if you want to restore the SnyderVerse, if you want to do that, you can't cancel HBO Max the day after you watch it.
That's Warner Brothers, and I'm not happy with Warner Brothers playing all these sneaky tricks because I don't want to support them. I've already gone on record saying I'm not a fan of this whole releasing everything on HBO Max and pretty much giving a big middle finger to the theaters that have been supporting them this entire time. I'm not a fan of it, but with the Snyder Cut only strictly being released on their streaming service, they're kind of putting us in a rock and a hard place here, right? Because even though I don't really care for it, but at least we've discussed this before, at least there's some consistency within Snyder's verse. So if that's all I can get, fine, I'll take it. At least it's something, at least it's consistent, at least there's an overall story to be told here. So I would like for it to stick around, at very least, let the man tweak out the problems, possibly fix them. But Warner Brothers kind of leaving me in this sticky place because I don't want to support them while they're doing all this nonsense.
Okay.
I still hate the fact that it's most likely, and again, it's not confirmed, that it's not going to be a 4-part episode anymore. I wanted this to have its time in the sun. You know what I mean? Not something that comes out suddenly and then next weekend the whole world's moved on to Godzilla vs. Kong. I still prefer the 4 episodes, even though the selfish part of me wants to see the whole thing. I want this film to have some time to breathe, for it to get big, for word to spread to people who may not have wanted to watch it. So honestly, I even think March 25th is too close. I would, if we're going to do it March, do it early March so it has time to grow.
Scott, all right, I don't know if I've heard you say how you feel. Were you more of a fan of the episodic, or are you okay with it coming out as it was originally intended? Because you got to remember, this is original. This is the way we're supposed to see it, right? One long film. However, I think I kind of agree with Jack, but I would like to hear how you feel.
Honestly, as someone who has been actively beating the drum for this movie for the last 3 years, I honestly didn't give a rip which way I was going to consume it. I just am standing here in the awe of the fact that it's actually coming out in like a month and a half. Like that's the part for me. I mean, I look at it kind of at this point. Zack sold it to Warner Media as the idea of a series because it was like, screw you, Warner Brothers. I'm going to Warner Media. I'm going to your boss. And I'm going, you have the streaming service. Let's make it I can cut this up into 4 episodes because the film itself, he's already said, is arranged in 6 chapters and an epilogue. Think like director's cut of Dr. Sleep or like pretty much any Tarantino movie where there are those cue cards, that delineate breaking the movie up. So the movie is said that same thing. And the movie is structured that way. He came up with an idea to break it up into 4 episodes. I mean, as a great salesman, as in, hey, you need something for this you need content for your streaming service. And I objectively agree with the argument that if you want to build buzz, the 4-episode structure would allow for the buzz, knowing that he told us that even after 4 episodes, we were still going to get the supercut 4-hour film at the end. So I get that argument. I also get the selfish part of me that wants to be able to sit down for 4 hours with an intermission and just be like, hot damn, I have myself a 4-hour Lord of the Rings style Justice League movie that I can consume. I can get the whole thing that I've already been waiting 3 years for. I can get it all at one time. I can tell you the reason it's a 4-hour movie is the pay structure.
Exactly.
I mean, because of the difference between paying actors for 4 episodes versus 1 movie, what it basically boils down to is it costs less to pay them for a film than it does for 4 individual episodes. Plus, with the HBO, and this is speculation on my part, also with the HBO Max deal that Warner Media did, releasing the 2021 film slate on HBO Max is now no longer hurting for that original content on their service that if they didn't have those movies, and with the pandemic screwing over their plans for all their original series that really should have already been in the can and being released on the service.
Right.
4 weeks of 4 episodes of, Zack Snyder's Justice League would have provided them with the content that they needed.
That's right.
They don't need that anymore.
Yeah,
now,
you're right. Yeah.
Now they've got like a movie, at least a movie a month happening now. I mean, you got the Little Things dropping this Friday.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? I'm still planning on doing for Little Things what I did for like Wonder Woman 1984. I'll watch it. I will both watch it at home, and I'm still trying to make it out to the theater to go see it, because another thing that seems to get lost sometimes is, guys, it's not like they're not being released in theaters at all. They're still there. My only problem is that with my theaters, and this is my theater's problem, looking at show times, that they don't do those late night show times anymore. Which the fact that I had to I had to turn off my camera because my boys in their underwear came down and wanted to kiss a hug from daddy. I have to wait till like 9 o'clock or later to go see a movie because I need my kids and my wife in bed so daddy can,
sneak out and go to the movies. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And I don't get that option anymore. So no, not saying I wouldn't want to. I want to go to the theaters, and I've been to the theaters like 5 or 6 times since they opened back up in Alabama. I mean,
Right.
I was there for New Mutants in August and Tenet in September, and then I went like a month where there was like nothing to watch, and I went and saw a couple of independent movies because I was like, I just want to go see a freaking movie. I don't care what I have to watch.
Get out of the house, yeah.
I want to get out of the house, and so that's the thing for me is that I whether it's a series or a movie, I don't want to get into this measuring contest about which one's better. All I'm looking at is the thing is coming out. And, they need about 4 to 5 months of a subscription from however many people to justify Warner Media's $70 million investment for him to be able to finish up his cut of the movie, this 4-hour cut of the movie.
Right.
So, one, don't drop HBO Max because that's sending the absolutely wrong signal to Warner Media. Plus, Warner Media needs you to stay on as a subscriber. Basically, you've got to show them that they won you over as a customer based on their investment. You have to prove to them that the investment's going to pay off. Just watching Zack Snyder's Justice League and then canceling your subscription, business-wise, is doing the absolute worst thing it can do if you want the SnyderVerse to continue. It's numbers. They want to see subscriptions. They want to see activations. They want that monthly subscription. And right now, they've extended that 6-month deal where, man, you're only paying like $11.66 a month if you go ahead to 6 months at one time.
Yes.
That's what they want. I mean, why else would they make a deal that was going to end in December and stretch it out to March?
Exactly.
Well, I wonder why. There's a reason people might be signing up around March for HBO Max.
And
I don't know.
I mean, and there's this new trend right now, at least, because I noticed it started with Disney, but most people got rid of the free trial. You cannot, especially when a blockbuster film is being brought to your streaming service, they won't let you do a free trial because people used to do that, right? If there was a movie that they wanted to see or something that was on Netflix, sign up for the trial, watch it, and then, no skin off my back. But no, they got hip to that, and they were like, okay, so I don't know if HBO suspended that for now, but I know Netflix straight up got rid of it. So
Disney Plus got rid of it right before Hamilton because Hamilton was a huge draw for them, and then HBO Max, of course, did it right before Wonder Woman 1984.
Right.
They're wise to it now. It's like, no, we have the content now. We don't have to beg you to be they don't have to beg you to be a customer in that manner. They beg you by going, look at all the cool crap we've got. Don't you want to?
Right. And so Netflix, now Netflix, here's what they did. And I was actually surprised with the Netflix one because I went and honestly, I tried to do a free trial before I paid for another month just because of one reason. It was because I was like, on the card that I usually use, I was like $3 short. And I was like, all right, well, I'll just get a free trial, right? Nope. But this is not new news. Netflix has been doing this. And what they're marketing now is that you can cancel at any time for free. Well, they won't charge you for the next month. And so they're pretty much twisting the words because if I was canceling, I wouldn't be paying for the next. I just don't understand their logic on the cancel at any time. But
did we lose Tyler? You guys
I think he's froze. Yeah.
understand what cancel at any time means.
There it is.
Did I freeze?
You froze.
Yes, you did.
Did I freeze?
Yes,
Yes.
you did. Stay.
It's going to be freeze. But yeah, so I mean, Netflix is marketing in a different way now, but
Yeah.
I think it's smart, and I think it's smart to get rid of the free trial. Next thing they're going to get rid of is me being able to use your subscription and that kind of thing. They're going to start like honing in on your IP address and stuff like that. I feel that coming as well.
I'm surprised they haven't jumped on that already, especially on the Netflix end of it. I don't know a single person. I know maybe one person who pays for Netflix, and the rest of us use theirs. You know what I mean? It's like one subscription and 10 people using it.
Yeah, but like it's going to be so hard to gauge because like there are times when I'm out and about and I'm waiting. And
I know.
To, like,
honestly, it was more of a joke. But can I ask you a question, Scott?
That's what I'm here for.
All right. So how did Squadcast Media come to be? Because I don't want this to just to be oh, well, Scott's here, let's talk. I do want to get to know you a little bit more, and I want the people that watch us to get to know you a little bit more. Not that they don't know you already, but maybe you can give us a little background on how you came to be, how you came up with the ideas. And I watched your a little bit of a commentary that you were apparently drunk for. So that was, by the way, that was hilarious. And where I actually watched it to study because we're about to do something like it. So I appreciated it.
No problem. Well, back in 2015, I, through Patreon, appeared on a podcast called Arrow TV Talk because I was a huge fan of CW's Arrow. And when I appeared on an episode of that show, Tim, my co-host now, heard me on that show and basically went, one, guy's got a good voice. Two, he obviously knows what he's talking about. And Tim had been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and he had an idea of doing a solo podcast. And he then realized, no, you need a co-host. So in 2015, he reached out to me through Twitter. I get this random DM from a guy from Indiana that I've never met before, and just saying, "Hey, I heard you on Arrow TV Talk. Would you be interested in doing a podcast, DC related?" Cool. And then it was funny enough. I always remember this night because it was the night I went to go see The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He FaceTime. We have a FaceTime like conference call. There's like I finally get to meet this guy.
Right.
And we hashed out some ideas, and originally it was going to be very Suicide Squad centric because we were looking for a niche that wasn't going to be like any other podcast out there. We were trying to find our little corner to be in. And we
your pop culture corner?
What'd you say?
I said your pop culture corner.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to. I'm sorry.
Hey, it's okay. And so we started there because our show was originally called the Suicide Squad Cast. And that was the name. Yeah, that was our original name for the first 4 years of the show. For obvious reasons, after 4 years, we decided it would be a wise decision to evolve the name. And we missed it. It was a great pun. We had fun with it. But so our first episode that released, first episode we recorded, that's what we refer to as the lost episode because audio problems like you wouldn't believe. And so our first episode that was released was us reviewing the Comic-Con trailer for Suicide Squad.
Woo!
And still waiting to see that movie.
I know. I still get bugs in my stomach over that first trailer. That was like nothing. Hall H was buzzing for hours after that. Hours.
I still remember because I remember there was that really bad leaked version that got out. So Warner Brothers had to release like an HD version like a few days later. And I mean, it was just such a weird time to start the podcast. And basically, since that episode dropped in early September of 2015, except for maybe twice in the last 5.5 years, we've never missed a week. We have been podcasting consistently about DC films, television, comic books since September of 2015. It got to the point that because there was so much to cover, and Tim and I got to the point that we were like, we want to respect our listeners' time. We wanted to respect what it is they wanted to listen to. We realized that we were running into one of two problems. Either we would not talk enough about a single topic because we felt like we had this huge bullet point list of things we needed to cover. And so we just got sort of very Machine Gun Kelly about trying to get through topics.
I can relate.
Or we would take the time to actually discuss a topic and then realized, well,
I
crap.
missed 7 of them.
Right, exactly. And so that's the beginning of what became Squawcast Media. Was we basically just said, okay, TV, we need to create another show that's going to talk about the TV stuff. So we took one of our, basically, who was always my substitute host, Brent. Whenever I was out, Brent replaced me. And we said, okay, Brent, you love the DCCW. You love Arrow. Let's find another person that ended up being Ray, who loves the DC TV stuff as much as you do. Bingo, spinoff show. You talk about TV, so we can take all the TV news out of our show notes and stick it with you. And then, well, we got comic book news. Cool. And then we found Christian Jordan. And it was like, okay, guys, you're going to do a comic book review show. Boom, there goes another show. And we took all those news stories and went, that's your, basically, as Tim and I are what they call it, they nickname us the Squad Fathers. Basically, we were like, we're delegating. we're taking crap off our plate. And so it just led to, and then as the years have gone on, then Brent and Ray created Fans Without Borders so they could talk about all kinds of stuff, Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, basically anything geek related. And that's how the Squawcast Media Network got born. Was it was just one show with 2 guys and a third guy who occasionally showed up. And then we just found, it's kind of like that Bruce Wayne line from BVS, help me find the others like you. And people found it.
I love it.
It's a great line. And it really is what happened. And to be honest, for Jordan, Chris, and Ray, you talk to them and they'll all say it was our BVS review. That's kind of what put us on the map. Was when people were looking for someone who actually enjoyed BVS, we were one of the few, and we had done smart about getting iTunes reviews. So our show was kind of like we were getting in the search engine optimization of people looking for DC stuff. Yeah. And that's how our own co-hosts found us. Was basically everyone says it was your BVS review. Like we have a few people who go, we were there since episode 1. We've been there since day 1. You talk to most people though, and it was your BVS review was when we found you.
And I can relate to what you're saying because that's a similar idea of what we had in mind from the beginning. Very similar idea, and that's why I kind of brought it up because I knew about what you've done and where you've come from because I've been listening for a while, and I say this to a lot of people that do come on. However, I don't always mean it 100%. However, your style of what you did with your show was a direct correlation. If you ask them, this is how I laid it out to them. I adopted what you did and kind of twist and turned it a little bit. And that's what I proposed was like, eventually this is what I want it to be. Right. And so you are a true inspiration. And I really appreciate that we weren't doing this when BVS needed someone to stick up for it. Right. There were maybe 10 people on YouTube or in podcasts that I knew of that defended the film, and you were one of them. Other than that, though, people were ripping on it. So you guys really were the front lines. So, I applaud you.
It was easy. It was easy to kind of make a name for yourself when all you wanted to do was talk about stuff that you enjoyed. Yeah. I mean, we famously, it was kind of like why our Joss Whedon Justice League commentary was such a kind of a departure for us. Because, go back and listen to that original. Well, maybe don't. Go back and listen to that original review. Even when we don't like something, we still try to talk about, okay, what can we just sort of sit back and give credit? Like, how can we at least give credit? Our shortest review was for a movie that we just did not like at all because we were like, we're not going to beat a dead horse. I mean,
Right.
if you go back, our review of The Kitchen was like 30 minutes. It was like,
Yeah.
we don't have much to say. And since we don't, dogpiling is not our personality, it's not our style. It was easy to kind of make a name for yourself back in the day because, hey, they're talking about something that they like.
Right.
And in 2015 and 2016, that was it seemed like it was such an alien concept on the internet.
It still kind of is. It still kind of is.
Especially
I watch every channel I watch.
Yeah, especially on the DC side of things. Like generally speaking, on the DC side of things, at that time you rarely heard someone like. I mean, there was that. It was literally on the Popcorn Network. It's called DC Movie News
with Mike Kowalski, right?
Yeah, they were one of the. So that was like the first DC podcast that I ever listened to, and I was like, "Wow, they're not shit talking DC, right? This is crazy." And I haven't really. Did they stop, or did they just get? Because they're not recording new episodes, as I see. They just fell off the earth. Their last thing that they did was right around the time that Justice and I started. And I was kind of explaining to him, I was like, this is what their limitations are. I don't want to do just DC because they seem like they're running out of stuff to talk about. Little did we know that 2 months later, the Snyder Cut would get announced, right? So I guess, joke's on me, but I don't know what happened to them, and I've been super curious. And now Matt is leaving Lightcast. I don't know what's going on right now.
It was a dark time. I think Tim and I were very open on the episode on May 20th, when the Snyder Cut got announced. We did an emergency episode. I mean, quickest turnaround I've ever seen of an episode. It's like we recorded it and it dropped like within like an hour after we finished recording. That thing was produced.
Right.
Tim was like on the ball. That thing got out, and we were very honest between that and appearing in that comic book debate video that came out like a day or two after the announcement, that our numbers were tanking. Because people just didn't care anymore. And to be frankly honest, we were having a hard time caring too, but we just kind of felt like, well, we just kind of need to go down the ship because it was our brand. It was what we did. And I'll tell you that, May 20th was like, it's like that scene from Pulp Fiction when John Travolta sticks the adrenaline needle into Uma Thurman. It's like we needed that. We needed that jolt to get us enthusiastic and excited again because it was so hard. I mean, Big Drip, I can understand the feelings that you're feeling regarding Warner Brothers right now, because there was a part of me that was just like,
yeah.
And even now, Warner Brothers, between Warner Media and Warner Brothers still does things that I'm just like, oh, can we stop making it so hard? Like, are you trying to make being a fan harder? It's already hard. You don't add to my struggle right now.
Right.
So I get it. I really get it. Because I've been I've been in it for 5.5 years. And I was in it even before then, because the whole reason we started the show was we loved Man of Steel. And we got sick and tired of people trying to tell us that we were wrong for liking this movie. And we were like, there's got to be other people who like this movie. You talk to other people in real life who like this movie, just none of them were on the internet.
Yeah.
And so
Agreed.
And the only thing that Tim and I did that was, quote, revolutionary was we just said, how about we stop bitching about it? We actually, do something.
Yes.
And we started a podcast, and boy, go listen to those early episodes. We didn't know what we were doing. I still remember days of recording a podcast using the little dangle mic for my iPhone. The little
the earpod ones, right?
yeah. I mean, the old dangle thing. Like, I can't tell you how many times I recorded an episode like this on the Skype app on my phone. My audio is crap if you go back to those early episodes. And then eventually it was like, and then, we just grew. And that's what I say to anyone who wants to do a YouTube channel or a podcast. One, just do it.
Yes.
Stop.
Oh, wait. Go ahead. Continue.
Stop waiting for someone to, quote, give you permission to do it. Just
make your dreams come true. Just do it.
Yes. And guess what? You're going to screw up so many times.
Yes.
And just accept it and roll with it.
Honestly, because the thing I tell people, and we're still very much rookies in the sense of like where we're at or how long we've been doing it, just keep making videos or keep making podcasts, right? It doesn't matter. No matter how good you are when you start, a year from now, when you go back and look at that, you're going to be disgusted, right? Because you've grown and you've changed and you've gotten better. I mean, if you go back and watch our first episode, like at the time I was like, wow, that's so good. Now I go back and look at it and I'm like, what? You don't know how to line up a camera angle, idiot? Like, it's just do it. Exactly. Just do it. I promise you won't regret it.
And there's enough people in this community that are ready, willing, and able to give you, like, they're willing to help you not make the same mistakes they made. They're like, I'm a firm believer of, I'll let you make your own mistakes, but how about I give you a heads up about crap that I should have known 5.5 years ago that would have saved me about 2 years worth of trouble.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So when did you become a regular on Vodka Stream?
It was December of 2000 and it was 19. It was Subway. It was 2019. Yes, the day the Subway tweet happened.
Oh wow!
That was a Friday, and I remember coming home from work. I did stop by Subway and get dinner. I even talked to he was a first grader at the time. I talked my first grader. You want Subway for dinner, right? Yes, Daddy. That sounds great. Good son. We're supporting Subway today. And I've been connected with Dave through DMs and stuff because as people who were kind of, you are in this Snyder Cut community, you're all talking to each other. You're all working behind the scenes. We're all double checking each other's work. We're like, what have you heard? Okay, because for me, as someone who I don't have scoop, I don't have quote sources like that. What I have is I hear things, and before I go and speak with it with any kind of confidence on my show, I just want to be able to go with somebody and go, so
yeah, is this
is this even in the realm of possibility? And Dave was one of those guys who Steven was able to kind of middleman me with Dave. And I've been watching Dave's videos since, right before Justice League. And then he eventually that night finally sent me a DM and say, hey, you want to be on the show tonight? And I jumped on it because I've been watching the show going, when's my time? Yeah. And now he can't get rid of me. I mean, I am his mom's favorite, so he really can't do anything now.
He's such a good guy. Such a good guy. So what are you most excited for in Zack Snyder's Justice League specifically? And what project would you like to see come out of it? Whether it's solo Batman on HBO, even if it's Flashpoint and it's tied directly to Zack Snyder's film, or if there's an aspect of that you like, what are you hyped up about? Besides it actually being greenlit.
I'm looking forward to really seeing this is such a nerdy answer, but forgive me. I'm an English teacher too. I'm looking forward to seeing characters having proper arcs and actually developing. I mean, we're getting a 4-hour movie. I mean, I'm trying to think about all the freaking character development that's going to happen, especially for Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash, who really got the. I mean, I would say the Cliff Notes version, but I think Cliff Notes does a better job. And so for me, I'm looking forward to that. And I know I'm kind of cheating and giving a secondary answer, but there's also the fact of there's so many plot points in the movie that have been, quote, spoiled for us by Zack over the last 3 years. And yet I have to think this is a freaking 4-hour movie.
Right.
I am just so intrigued about all the stuff that I don't know is happening.
It's not like it's not like Deadpool where Ryan Reynolds gave so much away, but he needed to do that to get the movie made, and released. And he only made a 2-hour movie, right? So he gave a lot away out of that 2 hours. And when you went and saw it, you kind of knew all the jokes. But Zack, we haven't even scratched the surface, I don't think.
And that's the thing because that was even a question that I was even asked by Sean O'Connell for his book was what was your opinions? What was your feelings about all the stuff he was sharing on Vero for the last several years? And to be honest, I was like, I didn't even know if the dang thing was coming out anytime soon. I was hunkered down for a Blade Runner Superman 2 Donner Cut situation. I mean, I've lived through that. I was ready for that. And it was kind of encouraging to hear Zack even say, oh yeah, this happened so much faster than even I thought it was going to happen. Like it was kind of refreshing to go. I was glad that even I kind of was like, I know what will happen one day. But that was pretty much where I was. It was like, it will be one day. It's pretty much how I accepted it. So that's what excites me is I hate spoilers. I'm someone who, as soon as the marketing spins up, like I go dark. I go 0 dark 30. It's like no.
I respect that.
I don't want. I want to experience it in the movie. I mean, I'm talking about right now. If it sticks with the March 25th date, that's my spring break. Like I will already be off of work so that I can I have already told my wife, you are taking the kids to your parents' house.
Yeah.
You mean I don't get to see it? No, because I need you
watch it there.
Watch it there. They have HBO Max. Watch it on their account. That way there'll be at least 2 accounts watching the movie. But no, I need to watch this 4-hour movie without you asking me questions, without you interrupting me, without you wanting me to pause it so you can go to the bathroom or go to the kitchen. No, I'm going to sit there, and I don't want my kids interrupting me. And so that's what I'm excited about. And to be honest, what my dream would be coming out of this would be Justice League Part 2.
Yay!
Me, do I want to see the solo? What I love that Ben Affleck has the energy and would love to do his Batman movie. Of course, get to see Batman versus Deathstroke. Oh my God. Yes,
right.
Of course. But if I have to prioritize, my priority is the 5 film. Jail 2, the 5 film. If it's still a 5 film arc, there's so many changes happen, but getting that Superman arc.
The hero's journey for Superman.
Getting the hero's journey, getting the dark side killing Batman, all of that, all the gods t-shirt. Basically, I want to be able to one day look at that all the gods t-shirt and actually know what the hell all of that's about. And that's what I really want, because I still argue if Warner Brothers had committed to it and advertised the fact that Zack was making a 5-film arc. He was basically doing the Dark Knight trilogy or Lord of the Rings with a Superman story that involved the Justice League. People would not have lost their crap about how he was choosing to tell the story, because they looked at his movies as if this was the launch pad for a cinematic universe a la the MCU that was supposed to go on for 20-something movies and be, quote, the canon of DC films. Instead of it being a self-contained
Ugh.
Elseworld story, which, by the way, all films are Elseworlds. Can we just live with that? I mean, even the MCU is Elseworlds. They're taking
Yeah.
616 and Ultimate and some of their own stuff, and they just put it in a blender.
Yeah.
And so it's all interpretation. And so if they had just done that, I always thought of it like Zack's movies were the limited event series, and these solo movies were the tie-ins. That, that always, like, look at Death Metal. It's like 7 issues plus, here's Death of the Multiverse, and here's Last Stories of the and there's all the tie-ins. If you want to read the tie-ins, great. If you don't want to read the tie-ins, whatever.
Right.
I wanted the main event series. That's what I still want. And so if you're asking me what my pie in the sky, rub the lamp and give me my 3 wishes, that's what I'm asking for.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, Scott, since you've been covering this since 2015, at least through the show, do you remember that period where it was announced Zack was leaving and Joss Whedon was coming back? I remember reading a lot of joy from people who were upset about BVS and were like, "Oh, thank God, Joss Whedon is coming because he made the Avengers, and that's a great movie." And even I was like, "Okay, yeah, Joss Whedon will probably make a good movie because he made the Avengers, he made Age of Ultron." Were you did you remember covering any of that or seeing that among fans? Because I was shocked by how short of a movie it was, how it felt low budget. Not that it was low budget, but it felt like, almost like a made for TV film. It didn't feel like the Avengers did, or even Age of Ultron, like this big story. But do you remember that period, like mid 2017?
Oh, unfortunately, I remember it all too well because it was a learning period for me, because I remember I was actually at my in-laws' house when the THR article from Boris Kit, where they made the announcement, where they made the announcement about Zack leaving. And I remember reading the article. First off, my main concern was finding out about Autumn. Like that really was my, oh my God, that is, like, as a dad, I was having this, oh my God, this is awful. Like it that's what struck me first. And I also totally bought in to the PR garbage,
So did I.
the punching up, Zack's vision. And you go back and listen to those episodes because of our let's stay positive. Let's look on the bright side. This is what they're saying. Tim had said this enough times to go, we honestly did not believe that in 6 months they could attempt or even succeed at trying to do at the things that we started hearing. And the problem was for
They really
us,
did. I think it's called a coup, right? I mean, it was kind of like a coup.
it was because it was like, okay, we are going to change it midstream. The reason it looks so low budget is that you try reshooting a massive movie in like less than 6 months before it comes out and stick that date and not put the quality and the work and the time that these movies that they put into the special, like you can't do that to VFX artists in 6 months.
No.
You're going to get what you get. And I don't blame the VFX artists, because I look at the VFX artists and go, you worked with what you had. You worked with the time, the money you were given. And I have no problem with them. I point at the studio and go at that. But I remember that period way too well because, one, I was sickened by the celebration, especially when the reason that he was leaving was because of the death of his daughter.
Yeah.
There were some reactions to that I was disgusted by.
I'm still.
Oh, yeah, it's disgusting.
Still.
And then there's also the complete BS we were served for 6 months that I ate with a spoon, apparently. And I was also not objective enough to look at the people who were warning us about the truth because, one, they were telling me something I didn't want to hear. And two, it was mainly coming from sources who hated Zack and his movies anyway. So your gut reaction is, well, of course you're going to talk crap. You've been talking crap this entire time. So I wanted to completely stick my fingers in my ear and go, la, 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 la. Why should I believe you? Why should I listen to you? You've been trying to, crap on this and throw cold water on this entire time. This is more of the same. Yeah. That's how I treated it. And then Thursday night at 11 o'clock, when I go to watch that movie, I had that visceral gut reaction of me. They were right. Not only were all those naysayers right, I have been lied to and feel like I have been used. I felt used because we had spent 6 months on our podcast trying to
be positive
and keep the internet from freaking blowing up because we were that voice. We were the ones trying to tell the fans, guys, just chill.
Trust the process.
Just let it play out. They can't do this. Then I watch the movie and go, well, and the one thing that will tick me off more than anything is you make me feel like an idiot. Mm-hmm. Make me feel like an idiot. And you get on my bad side like nobody's business. And that's how I felt. And I did not go to sleep that night. I literally, when I came back home, I had snuck out of the house to go see it late. And I got home, I literally just laid in bed, staring at the ceiling. I didn't. Like, oh my God, because this is the movie I've been waiting for. So much energy into this movie, and then that feeling of, and so no, unfortunately, Jack, I remember that period. Let
me bounce off that. What is it about the bigger publications that they really hate that this is happening? I've seen articles. Even it's like the same people who, crapped on BVS and Man of Steel. They're still really downplaying the Snyder Cut. They seem to be already against it. I remember reading an article that toxic fandom is one, and it's always the big. I always call them the elite, not to steal a word from politics, but like the ones who work for these bigger publications who seem to be really against the idea of the Snyder Cut. They're not like, all right, let it release and let's see what happens.
Here's what you understand. These publications rely on studios giving them information so they can write their stories and get their exclusives. I mean, that's their livelihood. Mm-hmm. So you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Let's be honest. And it's if it was up to Warner Brothers, this would never have happened. They wanted to bury this movie because it was such an embarrassment about what happened. We are getting this movie only because of AT&T buying out Time Warner, creating Warner Media, and those people with a completely different perspective looking at going, we can turn this into money. Why aren't you? And so since day one, I've been hearing the rumblings of there is this internal civil war between Warner Media and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is not happy about what Warner Media is trying to take them, because there's some people who want to do it the old way, their way. And Warner Media is, go read any profile on Jason Kylar, especially at his time at Hulu. He doesn't do things the old-fashioned way. And if you've ever been at a job where someone comes in and tries to change the way you've done things for a while, you don't like it. Yeah. You push back at it. And so Warner Brothers isn't happy. Warner Brothers is talking to their people, and basically there's all this. It sounds stupid. It sounds petty. It sounds so high school, because it is. But there's this self-sabotage of, we don't. This kind of makes us look stupid. because this wasn't our idea. This wasn't my idea. This was their idea.
Yeah.
And so, but from the publication standpoint, I'm sure you have some journalists who don't like it for their own personal reasons, and their bias shows. So your bias is showing. But there are others who I stand back and go, if you look at the way the articles are written, they'll put whatever Warner Brothers wants to put in their piece.
Yeah.
But then they'll also put something else because they're being objective journalists and they're trying to tell a fully rounded story. It's like whenever someone, I'll respect Boris Kidd at the Hollywood Reporter. Like more times than not, the man, like even when he puts something in the article that you don't like, it's either because he's quoting somebody else and he's going to put it in there because his source wants it in there. And, once again, it's like, here's this stuff that I like. Here's the stuff that I don't like. I'm sorry. That's called objectivism.
Yeah.
It's called objectivity. It's like, you got to balance it out there because it should be a news story. And so, but I honestly just boil it down to some of these people are like, if they don't do what their sources like for them to do, those sources stop talking to them.
Yeah.
And if they don't have anyone talking to them, they can't write their stories and they can't get paid.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of self-preservation that I can, while I can not like it, the more reasonable part of me can sit back and go, I get it.
Yeah.
I would like to all right, so Scott as well, what was your actual thoughts about Wonder Woman 1984? And I would like to compare them to Justice's thoughts about Wonder Woman 1984. And if you thought, because I mean, if let's be real, this is not Zack's Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman that we've come to know through the films. Even Patty's first film, I thought, was more Zack's Wonder Woman and the Wonder Woman that he introduced. So, what was your thoughts on Wonder Woman 1984? Do you think it was more of a studio movie? And why is it rated higher than most of Zack's films, if not all of them?
It was fine. I mean, that's pretty much that's about all. Whatever it is, and she's going to have a good time, and she enjoyed it, and that's why I don't really talk to her about the movie a whole lot, because I'm not going to be that person who ran on her parade. Yeah. I like being able to look at my wife after watching Wonder Woman 1984 because I took her to the theater to go see it in IMAX. She enjoyed it. Great. I am not going to take that away from her. I said, when she talked about things, once again, I stayed on my positives, things that I did enjoy about the movie, because once again, I'm not going to be that person I'm not going to do to her like was done to me 6.5 years ago with Man of Steel that caused the podcast to be born in the first place. No, you enjoy it. Great. I'm happy you enjoy it. I'm glad you enjoyed it more than I did, because I want to enjoy everything that I watch. There's nothing that gets me more than not enjoying something that I'm watching. I don't go into movies wanting to tear them apart. I go into like, please be good. Like just let me have a good time. And so when I watched Wonder 1984, you can hear it in our review episode. It was fine. It was decent. I saw it. Okay. I only saw it twice because I could see it for free on HBO Max, and then I spent the money to go see it in the theater one time to support the theater. As far as whose movie that is, I really get the sense that it's a mix, because even the movie doesn't seem to be able to make up its mind what it wants.
Yeah. Right, and that's what I'm saying.
So that's where I land. Like, no, it's not terrible. It's not and it's not at the bottom of my rankings. That 10 minutes of Themyscira is something that I want to see. Like, I'll watch that till the cows come home. I love that opening.
Okay. Again, that was the best part of the movie.
Yeah. And so that's where I land. It's like, It's not. It's nothing. I think it's nothing special. It's just fine. And
Right.
I think what happens is, I think we were talking about I think it was even before we went live. We're talking about binary and extremes. It's like film Twitter wants to treat everything like it has to be a glorious masterpiece, or it's a dumpster fire. And sometimes movies are just
Meh.
meh. And for me, Wonder Woman 1984 just fell into the meh.
Gotcha.
I don't need to trash it, but I also don't love it either.
Justice. Go ahead.
First, I have zero problem with Wonder Woman herself. I think Gal Gadot, coming into the first Wonder Woman, I should say, I wasn't a fan of her acting. It was very limited. She kind of had the acting range of a basketball shoe at the time. But in 1984, I noticed that she's getting a lot better, and she's able to do emotional scenes. So kudos to her. Hats off to that. I like Patty's her ideal of Wonder Woman, what she's doing with Wonder Woman. I love it. I think it fits the character perfectly. I think the biggest problem of that movie was that it was placed in the 80s. As simple as that. That's where all that goofy, over-the-top, cartoonish kind of nonsense that we were seeing was because they had an 80s skin on it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the biggest problem of this movie. It was goofy. Pedro Pascal was excellent. I loved him. I thought he was great. He performed his heart out. He was great. I loved it. After the first Wonder Woman, I now come into these movies expecting them to have a more bigger picture rather than Wonder Woman just fighting a bad guy, right? Like the first movie, it was, well, if I get rid of Ares, will war actually end? Is that enough to stop humanity? Turns out, nah, that's not the case. Sorry to break your heart, but that's not how things work around here. And then this movie, it was more of your desires, your wishes, what you want. Is it worth tearing the world apart around you? And I love that concept, and I love that idea. If they took it out of the, not even necessarily take it out of the 80s, but really just pump the brakes on the whole 80s. I know you're trying to like appeal to a certain audience and trying to, get everybody, right? Get us geeks in there, but also get, the older crowd as well that were actually around for the 80s and be like, oh, I remember that. That's, that's cool to see. Fine, whatever. But it was excessive. If you pump the brakes with all of that, I would have been much more happier with the movie. You could have got rid of Cheetah altogether. And nothing would have changed. I would have been perfectly fine with that. So, Scott, we're pretty much on the same page with meh. Meh.
You could say that the movie was good, but it could be better.
I mean, my God, if that meme is not like, not only is it one of the best things to come out of the movie, if it doesn't in some weird meta way actually comment on the film itself.
Right.
I don't know what does, honestly.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
It's funny. I agree. I watched.
I don't ever want to see it again.
The review the guys did at a showcase.
That was my review.
Yeah, and I agree with everything he said, but it's kind of close to what you said, Scott. I thought it was met, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was Christmas Day. However, since I saw it, I've had no desire to go back and watch it. I thought even when I was finished, I was like, I'll probably go watch it tomorrow or the next day, and I still haven't. And I know it's off HBO Max.
Yeah.
I had no desire to rewatch it.
And that's the thing. That's one of the biggest measuring sticks for me is, do you put this burning desire in my soul that I need to watch that again? Or do you give me that burning desire in my soul that I need to find someone because I need to talk about this movie? Or, I mean, and those are for films that are deep. Or sometimes it's just, damn, that was good. When can I see it again? Like,
yeah.
And that movie, that it didn't inspire that in me because I didn't think there was that much. There wasn't a lot of meat on them bones. And
right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what. So, and we were kind of faced with a tough situation because we were trying to make an impression on a theater chain so that we could work with them again in the future. Right. So we came out of the movie and it was like, well, we don't really have too much to talk about because everything was on the surface. You didn't have to dig for anything. You didn't have to go looking for something. I asked last night if I didn't see the movie, could someone spoil it for me right now? I truly believe that whatever you told me, I'd be like, okay, right? There's nothing that I'm going to be pissed that you told me. Someone was like, Linda Carter. And I was like, all right, maybe that, but not really.
That would have pissed me off only because that, while it was cheesy and it was a good mid-credit scene because it was completely unrelated and disconnected. Like, that's where you put something like that. That has absolutely no relevance to the plot whatsoever. It is a legacy cameo. It's a wink to the audience. Yeah. Did I enjoy it? And once again, going back to my wife, she lost it when she saw Linda Carter. She was just like,
wow.
Like that made her like, is that Linda Carter? Like she got like that moment. And I was just like, yep. Because I'd watched it the night before. So on Christmas Day, I stayed up to watch it on HBO Max, and I was like, oh yeah, it's Linda Carter. And she's like, that is so cool. And she got so excited. And I'm just like, it's almost like that's what it's for. That's who it's for. That's what it's for.
It's almost
see, that's the thing. I fall under that category. I love Wonder Woman. I'm half Greek, so she's a huge hero in my book. Her and Shazam, I absolutely adore them. So that I think that's a big part of why I came into this. And I also very much love Patty's first Wonder Woman movie. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why this time around, like, if we weren't at Showcase trying to like make an impression on them and we were just in the studio like normal, I would have tore that movie to shreds. And you would have heard me say not a single nice thing. And I would have lost my mind because I did go into it with very high hopes that got shot down very, very quickly.
And to go back to Ty, what you were talking about, like, was this a studio-made movie or was it a Patty Jenkins movie? You have to remember, this was supposed to come out almost a year ago. This was supposed to come out spring 2020. So
pick a date because it's had 6.
But like you figure that first one was at least it was completed, right? So this movie was pretty much done being filmed and edited by end of 2019, maybe. So that was still the period. So pre-production, production, and post-production, when Warner Brothers was trying to move away from Zack's vision. Okay, so Wonder Woman, the first one, had already been made with Zack as a producer and story. But now that Zack's out in 2017 and they're working on a sequel for Wonder Woman, they were probably going with the same mindset that made the Joss Whedon Justice League. Look, let's make it more lighthearted, no more war sequences. We don't want to see Wonder Woman, crushing a building with a sniper. Let's make a lighthearted family film. Ooh, Stranger Things is popular. Let's make it in the 80s. And I think Patty was like, yeah, sure, I would love to make that movie. And I think it was a combination of both because I think, again, it was that post-Zack Snyder world where they're like, all right, let's move away from the dark, the edgy. I like Maxwell Lord, but he wasn't a scary villain. He wasn't intimidating at all. Even at least in Shazam, the villain in Shazam, what's his name? Mark Strong's character.
Ivana.
Ivana, he was actually kind of scary. In the context of the movie, these are kids. He's got to fight this evil guy.
Sorry, that boardroom scene?
Yeah.
With the 7 deadly sins?
Excellent. Good scene. Good scene.
I was watching Shazam as a Christmas movie, and I think it was my 4-year-old came in the room, and I just was like, buddy, I actually said, I need you to close your eyes. I need to cover your ears. Daddy needs to finish watching the scene. It's scary. He actually came over to me, and I literally watched that scene with my hand over my 4-year-old's ears. And as soon as that scene was over, I was like, okay, buddy, you can watch the movie with Daddy now.
Yeah. Scene, such different in tone. Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah. We talked about this too, TY and Drip, that we thought that there was going to be a big final villain. Because in the first Wonder Woman movie, it's General Ludendorff, and then actually it is Ares, because they mentioned like a god of power or whatever. What was it?
The god of lies.
I was like, that's who the real. They didn't put him in the trailer, but that's going to be the big bad. that's going to show up. And no, it's not. I was like, wow, it felt like a very safe movie. And I kind of enjoyed it. I wasn't, but I didn't want to rewatch it. Give you an example. I saw Birds of Prey. I told my sister, you know what? That wasn't that bad. 2 days later, she's like, you want to watch that movie with me? I'm like, sure. Birds of Prey was an amazing movie, but I could sit down and rewatch it.
Birds of Prey has a personality.
Yeah, it does. Yes,
it does.
I saw it twice. I saw Birds of Prey twice opening weekend. Mm-hmm. The only problem with the second time is that I started to notice the reshoot, the diamond. Well, not even that. The way they changed the diamond plot, because you could tell that it wasn't supposed to be the Bertinelli fortune. Because every time that gets mentioned, it's ADR. The person, you don't see the person's mouth. You could tell that something got choppy when it came to that plot. And so I really noticed it the second time around.
Yeah.
It was really fun that weekend that I got to watch Kathy Yan totally go to a Twitter war with Grace Randolph.
Oh my God.
That was a fun.
Oh my God.
That was a fun 48 hours.
That was funny. That was.
But for me.
But it was weird.
But I still enjoy that movie. I'll still pop it in because, I'm sorry, Hugh McGregor is fabulous in that movie.
I loved it. A lot of people were mad about that performance.
He's a good black man.
Skullface in the comics is just to do with the skull face. There's no personality to him. When you read the Joker or the Scarecrow, you can tell that. So he did something else with it, and I'm fine with it. It's not like he ruined a major villain for me. I kind of like the sort of impotent, scared, narcissistic thing he brought to it. I was fine with it.
Yeah, so I completely get you, Jack, because I'm there with you. I saw Birds of Prey twice in theaters. When it dropped digitally, I knew I was going to be getting the Blu-ray anyway. But when it dropped digitally during the lockdown, I bought it just because I was like, I want to, when I like or love something, I want to support it
exactly
as much as I can. Which is why my poor wallet does not know what to do with itself with the Zack Snyder Justice League merchandise that's come out already, and the things that are promised to us that are going to be coming. God help me when those McClellan toy figures drop. I'm
waiting for the posters because they're going to do a big one, and then they're going to do individual posters. I'm thinking of changing all this behind me.
We're talking posters. We're talking the toys. The shirts, I've already got the 2 Darkseid shirts. I've ordered the 2 Steppenwolf shirts. You take
face mask.
It's like I'm going to. I've been promising for 3 years that if you release this, I was going to buy all the things.
Yeah.
And as Heath Ledger said in The Dark Knight, I'm a man of my word.
Yeah.
And the fans need support. And we've always been saying this, support HBO Max through this, and please, for God's sake, do not pirate this movie. Please do not pirate it.
I understand the international fans having some trepidations because they have not been given any kind of reassurances about how they're going to consume this movie.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And what I would say is, there's all these articles about VPNs and there's ways that you can do this and you can find workarounds. And I agree, you shouldn't have to do workarounds. It's like what I'm doing with the Nerd Queens, doing Zack Snyder's Justice League merch mates, where I'm trying to find Americans who are willing to get in contact with an international person because they want to buy these T-shirts. And it's ridiculous that we have to buy them in America and then use the post office to ship them to people internationally. I think it's ridiculous that these aren't being made available to ship internationally. Why is that so hard? I don't know. But that's why I'm doing this, is because if these international people want to spend their money, I had the idea of, well, let's find people who you can send your money to so that they can get it for you and send it. Because once again, we want Warner Media and DC Comics, we want them to see the dollars. Once again, they put $70 million into letting Zack do what he wanted to this movie to release it. We as consumers have to play capitalism and say, we have to show them as a business that their investment we got to show them a return on their investment.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's the only thing that matters, is that we show. I mean, the time for hashtagging and all that, I get it. They love buzz, they love word of mouth, but they need it to result in cash.
Yeah. It's time to stop talking and like saying, oh, you know, this movie is going to be successful. Like, we need to also be able to back it up, right? And to get people excited and to have people watch it 2-3 times. You know, I know I'll probably sit down, I'll watch it twice in a row, have pizza delivered, fed to me. You know, I'll bring a pee bottle out. Like, you know, I'm going super hard. That's just a joke, but you know, no. But I'm gonna.
Nerd.
I know I'm gonna do my part, right?
And
I'm gonna do my part.
And Drip, I'm curious, because as someone who you're very honest and fair in saying, listen, I don't dig what Zack does with the DC movies. It's just not my speed. I mean, don't you even have just like the curiosity of, I gotta see what this thing is?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. I'm 100%. Honestly, I'm gonna end up just like him. I'm gonna have to watch it more than once, just because I know there's gonna be a lot there. We're getting 4 hours worth of movie, and like you had mentioned earlier, there's 3 characters that we're not familiar with yet, technically at this time, that need to be introduced and given some kind of arc and some kind of development. So yeah, but absolutely, I'm very much curious. Excited? No. Curious?
Right.
Yes.
Well, and you know what? As far as I'm concerned, I'll take Leonardo DiCaprio from Django Unchained. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Like, that's, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
it's a great movie.
It's Tarantino. I mean, honestly, but that's the point, is that you don't even have to be. We don't even need everybody we don't need to be Spinal Tap. We don't all have to be 11. Like, no, we're the 11s.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'm an 11. I'm a freaking 15 probably. But what I need to do is take my 11 and my 15 and go, hey, mother-in-law, you have a separate HBO Max subscription from me. You need to watch this movie. Now, she's going to watch the movie because Jason Momoa, and 2, she's been hearing me talk about it for the last 3 years. I mean, my mother-in-law will watch it just out of, you know, morbid curiosity about what her son-in-law's been yakking about 3 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
A lot of people are going to be like that.
Well, but I think another thing is that we, as the Uber fans, don't realize how much the normies have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't, and that's our job. Because
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, come on. One thing that I will concede about the difference between it being the series and the movie. A 4-hour movie is a hard sell. Now,
I had made that point. I had made that same exact point.
It's a hard sell. Now,
yeah,
it's a streaming movie, so there's at least the sense of pause.
Exactly.
Pause and pick it back up. Now, you can do that. For some reason, people's brains aren't quite wired to do that as readily with a movie. Like, it's the people who talk about, I mean, I've seen people binge all of Stranger Things in one night before I even have a chance to wake up.
Yeah.
And yet they're going to gripe. Those same people are going to bitch and complain about watching a 4-hour movie. And it's like, you did just watch like 9 hours, like overnight.
Without blinking.
While I was sleeping.
Yeah.
So trying to be, I mean, as a fan, you almost have to be like a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, you're right.
Going to the door, going, listen. I need to tell you about this movie. No, that movie back in 2017. You know, I want to be like Men in Black, going, never happened. Okay.
Yeah.
let's talk about this movie. Is it 4 hours? Yes, but it's streaming. You can pause it. You can pick it up. You can. There's going to be chapter breaks. It's going to be great.
I was going to say, he also included times for you to do that.
Exactly. It's like they'll hit pause, go to the bathroom, go get some popcorn, order some more pizza. I don't care. But that's what we got to do. And we got to sell this to a crowd that doesn't understand what happened. I mean, when Sean O'Connell's book comes out, I've already sold it to my mother-in-law because one, it was easy to sell. I'm in it. Buy the book. Okay, cool. You know, that was an easy sell. But like with with Justin Lesninsky's novel, The Cut, I gave it to my dad for Christmas, and he's already read it. And I got my mother-in-law to buy it, to read it. And my dad read it, and he was just like, well, that was interesting. How much of that actually happened? Yeah. A lot. Right. Justin didn't have to fictionalize much. Yeah. I'm just saying. Right. But once again, that's our job, is to kind of go out there and go, here, this is what's going on. And I can tell you, as someone who's actually read Sean's book, because he sent me an advanced reader copy of it. For Uber fans, except for maybe Zack's interview, there's not a lot that you're not going to learn a whole, you're not going to discover a whole lot reading the book, because if you're an Uber fan,
you already know,
you lived it.
Yeah.
But it is a quick, breezy, bam, 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 bam. It gets you. It's like the true Hollywood story. It gives you the highlight. That is going to be something that you can show someone and go, if you give a crap to know why I'm excited about this, take an afternoon here. And I think that's what we have to be, is we have to be people going, watch this movie. No, it's not like that movie. It's a 4-hour movie. It's going to be a serious movie. And also, my dad still hasn't seen BVS Ultimate Edition.
Yeah.
Because he just hasn't gotten around to it. And I'm like, okay, Dad, you have my HBO Max subscription. Wink. No, watch Man of Steel, watch BVS Ultimate Edition, and then let's watch Zack Snyder's Justice League. And that's what we've got to do. Because the general audience, as much as nerds and fans hate that term, there's more of them than there are of us.
Yeah.
And we need them to buy in.
It won't be like that much longer.
In terms of selling this, I remember before Infinity War, I was all, I'm still into Marvel, but there was no Disney Plus. So when I told people the movies they had to watch, they were like, oh crap, I got to watch all of that. I'm like, look, borrow my Blu-rays, borrow my 4K, just borrow it. For this movie, like you just said, convincing people, all you have to do is really watch 2 movies. Yeah, you can throw in Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman, but really you only have to watch 2 movies. It's not like you have a lot of catching up to do. You don't have to watch 20 plus movies to get to the first Justice League movie. And what I've noticed with people who aren't into comic book movies, who don't know anything about comic books, they actually like Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman more so than the Marvel stuff. They kind of like the harder tone. And maybe it's because they're not into the comic book movies, but they like the more aggressive style of Snyder's films. And they have no bone to pick. They're just like, yeah, I kind of like that Superman movie a lot more than I thought it would. That Batman vs. Superman movie was a lot more smarter than I thought it was going to be. They thought it was going to be like a Michael Bay movie.
Funny story about that. So my ex, right? She lived with me for a while. She doesn't care for any of that, right? She doesn't care for Marvel, DC, any of it. We were looking for a movie to watch one night when the pandemic started, and I put Man of Steel on. She fell in love with Man of Steel so much that the next day I came home and caught her watching BVS on HBO. And she was like, this movie's awesome. And I was like, all right, I want to do a little test. I was like, go ahead, watch Justice League. She came up to me after and she was like, what was wrong with that movie? And I was like, that's the point. I was like, I'm proud of you for seeing that this was such a tonal shift that she was like, did the guy who made the first 2 make that? And I was like, well, here's the story. And Yeah, and I was like, not really, but don't worry, it's coming out, soon. Because at the time we didn't know, and we still don't know. But I just thought that was funny that she, a general audience member, once given the opportunity, she could even see that there was something wrong with Justice League in comparison to the other two movies.
Yeah, and I remember one of my biggest times I did that was one of my wife's sorority sisters came and spent the weekend with us one time, and she hadn't seen any of the movies, and she just thought Henry Cavill was a dream. So we did a marathon over the weekend. We watched Man of Steel, we watched BVS, we watched Wonder Woman, and it was fun watching her going, oh my God, this. And she watched like Ultimate Edition, like she had never seen like BVS at all. It's really great when you can get someone who hasn't seen BVS and like their first experience is Ultimate Edition.
Yeah,
it's like yes, we have won.
the way it was supposed to be.
Right, the way it's supposed to be. And once again, I'm not going to completely throw the theatrical version under the bus. I only throw it under the bus in hindsight after seeing the Ultimate Edition and going, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Honestly,
people had complaints about the theatrical edition. I didn't understand because I followed it perfectly fine.
I came out of IMAX. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
And I saw the Ultimate Edition, and I went, "Oh, I get it now." I could see the edit. I could see the editing issues or the pacing issues that I didn't notice before because I bought into it. But then I saw the Ultimate Edition, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, that was my experience. Yeah. I mean,
I came out of
sorry, Ty, go ahead.
Real quick, I came out of IMAX after seeing BVS, regular theatrical, and I was still excited. I didn't see all the problems because I wasn't looking for the problems because like Scott, I go in and I'm very much an optimist, right? So I'm looking for what's done well rather than what's not done well. After seeing Ultimate Edition, like Scott says, hindsight's 2020. Now that I see this was what it was supposed to be, obviously it's better. it's fleshed out, it's filled in. This makes sense, that makes sense. But both of them are okay to me. Both of them are great.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When I first saw the theatrical version, I was disappointed. I always used the thing with Zack. Zack needs to let his flow go. You could tell like scenes just start. Like all of a sudden it cuts to Lex at the Capitol, like, "Oh, Senator, I want to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh, that's the next scene now." Then you watch the Ultimate Edition, and you're eased into scenes.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of scenes that are cut, like the Africa scene. There's so much more there that gives a little bit more information, and it flows better. And I'm like, oh, why didn't they just release this version in theaters? Because I've always felt that if that version had been released, yeah, you still would have had haters, but I think more people would have gotten it because every person who I've shown the Ultimate Edition to, not one person has said, "No, that still sucked." They're like, "Okay, yeah, that actually was better," or like, "Yeah, this was a good movie. I really enjoyed the politics and the real life, Congress and all, how they integrated then all this politics and religious imagery into this superhero movie. Like, I wasn't expecting that." And I'm like, yeah, it's a good movie. I have so many people I've yet to convince to watch the Ultimate Edition who just will not watch it. I'm like, just watch
One of them's here.
Well, here's the thing. The thing about the Ultimate Edition is that it depends on what your issues are with the movie. Mm-hmm. There are certain issues that you can have with BVS the Ultimate Edition is not going to fix.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't like the tone, Ultimate Edition ain't going to change that. If you don't like certain character arcs, Ultimate Edition, it's just going to double down. Yeah. So that's the thing. It just depends on what your issue is. My biggest issue is the people who didn't see the movie because of what other people said and have never actually seen it for themselves to form their own opinion.
Yeah.
And that is what bugs the ever-loving stew out of me. I heard it was bad.
Right. That's becoming That's becoming a problem. More and more and more and more and more, because we talk about other things, but we very much are growing into an age of information, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, because people take, like, for instance, what Rotten Tomatoes says as gospel. So if Rotten Tomatoes doesn't like a movie, you've lost, a good chunk of your general audience numbers. Whereas back in the day, when Rotten Tomatoes didn't exist, your movie, people would go form their own opinions, whether they liked it or not. After that was up to them to decide. We're growing now into this age where, like, I will listen to Scott, right? And I'll be like, well, Scott said it sucked, so I'm not going to waste my $17 to go see it. And it's becoming an issue that critics, the critics are pretty much writing the Bible on whether to go see these films.
Yeah, and there's also a bit of a...
Go ahead, Jack. No, please.
There's a bit of a peer pressure issue. I'm not going to deny this. This happened to me. Where I would be in a conversation. Everyone's talking about the MCU and DC, and I'm like, hey, did you guys see BVS? And, like, immediately people are like, oh, man, that movie sucked. That was so awful. And, like, 10 other people would jump in. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I didn't like it. Did you guys see Civil War? Like, that happened to me so many times where, like, you want to talk about the positives. Like, oh, my God, the Martha scene was so dumb. Like, oh, and, like, all of a sudden, like, an entire conversation just shifts. And like, you're like, oh, shit, I want to defend this movie. That's me against, like, 20 other people.
Yeah, and like, 7 of them haven't seen it.
Daggers, just like, come on, just say something. Say something.
Well, and then also, and to be completely fair, and then you get, like, the hardcore DC stans who apparently can never admit that anything that Marvel's ever made is
good. Yeah,
it's good. I'm sorry, Winter Soldier, Infinity War, Iron Man. Like, we're talking about. Damn, I enjoy those movies.
Yeah, I do too.
I really enjoy those movies. And then, I mean, I grew up on, like, the Fox X-Men movies and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. It's like, I mean, my comic book collection from the mid '90s is basically Batman, Spider-Man, and X-Men. Like, that's my comic book collection. Yeah. And so it's like, I have soured on the MCU.
Yeah.
But it's not like because I've soured.
Really?
Oh yes.
Really?
Once the Infinity Saga was over, I started just seeing things about the movies that, like, I'm a huge Phase 1 fan. Give me any movie from Phase 1, including The Incredible Hulk, which does not get enough respect.
I like that movie.
It does not.
I like it.
I love The Incredible Hulk. I love Phase 1, in my opinion. Each movie felt more like a film. Each movie felt like it had a little bit more personality.
Sure. No, you're absolutely right.
Once Disney bought Marvel, those became fewer and far between.
True.
But you'll also notice those are the ones that I gravitate towards. Like Winter Soldier. Why was Winter Soldier so earth-shattering? Because we hadn't seen an MCU movie like that.
Yeah.
The Russos did something.
Political thriller. It wasn't there wasn't mystical arts. Yeah.
And just by sheer dumb luck, the Snowden NSA, WikiLeaks stuff had just happened.
Yeah. Wow.
So the whole plot point about the SHIELD satellite was like, dang.
Holy fuck. I did not think about that. That was just happening.
That was like,
I didn't realize it either.
Dumb luck. Such dumb luck. But I look at Phase 1, even up to the first Avengers movie. Gold. I will watch every one of those movies. Iron Man 1, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger, the Avengers, like all of those. You cannot dampen my enthusiasm for those Phase 1 movies. Phase 2, I started to feel it. You know,
Warranted, by the way.
Iron Man 3, no.
I didn't like it.
Thor: The Dark World, no.
Absolutely not.
But Winter Soldier, hell yeah. First Guardians of the Galaxy,
Great movie.
Age of Ultron, I felt it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Ant-Man, it was a heist movie. You had me at heist movie. I'm sorry. Like it was, you know, and so that was,
I like that.
So, and then by Phase 3, oh God, really got few and far between in Phase 3. And for me, it basically came up to Doctor Strange. Really dug that.
Yeah, I love Doctor
Yep.
And
like the ensembles. Yeah.
And Infinity War. Like if I look at Phase 3, honestly, and also I dug Spider-Man: Homecoming only because I thought.
All right. Oh God, Scott, you scared me for a second.
Oh no, Homecoming I enjoy because they finally nailed high school Peter Parker.
Yeah, they did.
Loved it.
Did you not like Ragnarok?
Great.
What you say?
Did you not like Ragnarok?
Oh, Ragnarok is Phase 3. I forgot about that.
Ragnarok, I think is my. If you rank my MCU movies, it is next from the bottom.
Really?
Woo!
I know a lot of
Really?
like I don't read. I know people who read.
About a hot
like
take,
Ragnarok.
baby.
Wow.
Is it really that hot take from someone like me, though?
I don't think so. I guess you're right. You're right.
I mean, here's the thing, and guys, I hate to do it. I'm gonna need to wrap this up. My wife needs.
It's fine. We're 40 minutes over what we agreed on, so I was thinking the same thing.
But to talk about Ragnarok, it's humor I do not enjoy.
Okay.
That is not my cup of tea. There are moments where the VFX look cheap to me because by that point the MCU is very much have gotten into they are an assembly line. They are a machine. I also think that when you do that, you lose personality and or you lose production quality. That's why Infinity War was like a needle in my arm. I was like, yes, okay, this looks amazing. I saw Infinity War twice opening weekend. I was that jazzed about Infinity War. So, and now here she comes, and I gotta go. So, guys, thank you so much for having me.
Great way to end it.
No, and this doesn't have to be the last time. We'll see you soon, okay?
Okay, see you guys later.
All right, Scott. Good night.
Alrighty. I guess we'll do like the wrap up real quick because I kind of agree with him on a couple different things. However, Ragnarok, I thought it was pretty good. But
so I love Thor Ragnarok, but I'll be honest with you, I don't read the comics of Thor that much, so I know there are a lot of Thor hardcore fans who don't like Ragnarok, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it very much mashed together a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
So kind of like how people don't like Batman v Superman for combining so many stories and so many elements.
Yeah.
Same thing with Thor Ragnarok, where you didn't actually get the Ragnarok from the comic books. You got like a combination of several different stories. Hela isn't their sister in the comics. It's very much a different story with that. So again, those are the liberties you take as a filmmaker. I don't think Taika was wrong necessarily to do that. But Kevin, you been here the whole time? What's up, man? Those are the liberties you have to take, right?
Yeah.
So, as always, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads, especially for our February, our month that's coming up. It's going to be balls to the wall. Every single episode, we'll be doing something new, talking to someone new, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you join us. Also, here we go. You can now become Yeah, I'm very much sick of like saying everything, so I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make some videos that like say it for us.
There
So, I thought that was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea. And then I already played the video for about our month in February. Hopefully, we have another video for you soon about what we'll be doing for Kong versus Godzilla and other films. That I've kind of dropped the ball on and already showed people, but that's okay. That's what I do, is I drop the ball sometimes, but not all the time, just sometimes. Where can we be heard?
Well,
that's for you guys.
Well,
That's me.
There you go. Drip. Go
You
ahead.
can find us at all podcasts, wherever you can hear a podcast, you can hear your voice. That would be Apple, Google, YouTube, Spotify, you name it. For the podcast portion of things, we're really trying to push Apple and Spotify. So if you guys could, please go check that out. If you're a regular listener of the podcast, please head over to those platforms and listen. We're trying to switch up and bring you some more kind of YouTube friendly and YouTube specific content. We're trying to make changes around here at all times to keep the content fresh and the presentation good. So if you enjoyed yourself, please leave a big like, a subscription, head over to my Twitter at DripBig and shoot me a tweet. Tell me I'm ugly, tell me my breath smell, tell me you made sex with my mother last night. I really don't care what you say. I just want to talk to you. We appreciate you so much.
Don't end it there.
It's a shame Scott had to leave because I wanted to give him a chance to do his plugs and
To
whatnot.
do his
but
plugs, yeah.
yeah, I wanted to give him the moment to plug all the stuff, but that's okay. Big shout out to Scott McClellan for coming on. I'm sorry I keep butchering your name. I'm not that smart. I didn't go to college.
Jack.
Yeah, and please, if you're on Apple, make sure to leave a review. That really helps us. Even if you've been listening for months, leave a review. Give us 5 stars, hopefully. But that really helps us get the word out. Helps us everything. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. We have something with Showcase. It's more or less done. The email I got today seems like they want to move forward, but we're likely going to be doing some reviews, starting with Godzilla vs. Kong at Showcase Cinemas. So keep your fingers crossed for that. Tyler, you got the video for your mom real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're yeah, okay, that's right. I forgot I can talk over this one. We're raising money for Ty's mom. We're raising money. Look, she's in stage 4 cancer, and you don't have to give that much. Do your good deed of the day. Even if you give $1 or $10 or whatever you can give, it is greatly appreciated. It is very easy to do good deeds when it's easy. It takes a lot of courage to do it when times are tough. I know times are tough, but try to do something good today. Donate to that cancer fund, please.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right.
Thank you, guys.
Beautifully said, Jack.
And sadly, that is all the time that we have today. Our friend Mark Pellegrino wants to say something.
We do it for the culture.
So, guys, we'll be back. When will we be back? We'll be back Sunday. We'll be back Sunday for an episode 25 of the Pop Culture Corner. I'm super excited. I know everyone here is super excited. If anything, any live streams come up before that, we will obviously let you know in advance. If any news is needed to be dropped, maybe an official confirmation from Showcase, we'll come back and say hello. That is it for tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to come back in all every day. I don't know. Come back for February. It's going to be really fun. I love you.